In the San Luis Valley of Colorado, thousands of solar systems were constructed beginning in 1976 to dry food, to heat homes, to heat water. Most of it was do-it-yourself, and it earned the name as the most solar place in America by New Shelter magazine. Thousands of solar systems throughout the San Luis Valley, where there are 40,000 people living and saving, according to the Public Service Company of Colorado, $5 million annually in utility bills that were avoided. We came up with an idea of heating water by putting aluminum fins on a water tank and then putting the jacket back around it to create an airspace for actually heating water using air. So really there's no plumbing involved hardly at all. We're just moving air around, which isn't going to freeze, bringing the air in from a solar collector, which we little by little improved. We wrote a book about it that was published by Rodale Press with Steve Corner and Andy Zog, Solar Air Heating Systems, which I highly recommend. A complete handbook of solar air heating systems, how to design and build efficient, economical systems for heating your home. This is the Bible on the do-it-yourself technology, and it shows how we moved from wooden solar systems, the ones made with C-channels, with metal, and it shows the details of how to heat water with what we call the porcupine tank, where we move air, or hot air, around the water itself, how to build a solar greenhouse. The Heart Mind Alliance at gmail.com has all the information. And there are videos now at Northern New Mexico College, the community-based appropriate technologies, which are all about what we discovered together in the San Luis Valley with greenhouses and solar collectors and turning entire south side of buildings into solar systems to heat potato warehouses like this, or to heat a gymnasium like we did in San Luis using a $500 solar system that we built with corrugated metal and fiberglass, moving air into a building. We built many water systems where the solar collector below the storage tank then with thermal siphon wouldn't even need a pump to pump the hot water through there. In our commercial greenhouse, my wife and I discovered the greenhouse effect. And so we built a greenhouse on our home. Kind of unusual because we built the greenhouse on the south side of our solar collector, which was built around a window and just moved hot air behind corrugated metal. This is about $300 solar collector. So we learned about the importance of mass in storing solar heat through glass, and actually began to place mass within greenhouses and food dryers, so that even without the sun, we'd continue to get heat. Here's our greenhouse on our home, where the movable insulation could close it all off at night and then open it up during the day. Our work became well known. I was invited to 20 different countries. Here we're in India, where they had a distillation system where dirty water would attract the solar energy, and then the condensed water on the glass would become potable. People's Alternative Energy Services in the town of San Luis, Colorado, helped to spread the word, especially among the Spanish-speaking community, about food drying. in a way where the heat is produced separate from the plants or the vegetables, that are being dried. So there's no destruction of the nutritional value. Here's a trome wall, a massive wall. Here's another food dryer. This one had glass on the front, which we don't recommend because that a light can destroy the nutritive value of the food. Here's one where the solar collector is below the trays, and so there's no destruction of the food. Let's see, here's one where actually the sun does penetrate into the food dryers, which we're not recommending anymore, but is very effective. Here's one where the heat is produced away from the box where the food is kept, and that's just a black metal sheet to help radiate heat into the food drying area. So we were able to dry apples and peaches and pears inside our greenhouse. Here's a solar oven. We built lots of solar ovens. I have one video in the community-based appropriate technologies series on my favorite solar oven. Here's Andy's Og with his collector to heat water. First to heat air and then to heat water. So there are so many people involved in the community workshops that we did across the San Luis Valley here. This one is at the Sand Dunes, the Great Sand Dunes National Monument, where we put together a solar collector to heat the primary visitor center area. Here is a detail of putting together a solar collector. We have videos under F, fire, solar air heating systems. This was a fascinating warehouse that was built with pipes in the floor. And that's all the heating they needed, so they took out their wood heating system. Many of the systems we built had a fan to bring the air down and put it under the floor so that the entire floor became a radiant heat surface. And to control the air movements, Hot Stuff Incorporated came up with backdraft dampers that would work and with the fan on and then just close off so there wouldn't be any reverse siphoning of hot air, for example. Here's a water heating system coming together in the corrugations of regular roofing metal. Here's a collector I built for $286 on top of my roof, and this heated water, 90 gallons of water. And I often had to add cold water to it to make it bearable. And it was great not to have to do any plumbing because I'm definitely not a plumber. So I avoided this by heating air with the sun and then blowing the air around a water tank. Here's putting down the absorber plate for the copper pipe for the water heating system. And here's showing how that water heating system, this is an air system, how it can heat the home or the cross space, and here heating water before it then is allowed into the cross space or into the home. So in the summer it just cycles back to heat water, and in the winter it can go on from the water to heat the house. Here's a thermosiphoning water system. Here's the inside of the air chamber of the porcupine tank. It has the fins inside there, and this is all closed up so that the air can move either vertically like in this system or be interrupted by the aluminum in the horizontal design. Here we are in India where water is being heated inside a brick structure with an air gap in the brick. For heating water for the biogas digesters that you can see back in there, the biogas digesters needed hot water for the winter mixing with manure. Otherwise, the biogas digestion process would pretty much die in the winter. So just by using 55-gallon drums painted black and put inside this structure, they were able to solve a huge problem. Here's a batch water heating system where water tanks are laid side by side inside basically a solar oven. Here's Andy Zogg's water porcupine tank with the cover on. Does all the water heating in his home. There's a view of the porcupine aluminum fins and how they're strapped onto the tank itself.